Today, we're going to visit a site that I'm totally fascinated with it, and it's something that I've dreamed of doing all my life and finally found it. And join me, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It's Central Oregon's lava cast forest.
Lava cast forest walking through time. Welcome to a fascinating volcanic landscape. Lava surged through vents of Newberry volcano 7,000 years ago, engulfing an ancient forest and everything in its path. Several different lava flows converged here and created profound changes on the landscape. Lava cast forest, forest road, and lava cascade flows comprise the Lava Cast Forest Geological Special Interest Area, established in 1942 by the Forest Service. This area became part of Newberry National Volcanic Monument in 1990 as a site where you can observe past and ongoing natural processes. From here, walk the 1-mile interpretive loop to observe nature's ongoing processes. Please stay on the trail to protect habitat and for your safety.
The trail is very good at first. It's a wide paved trail, and then about midway down it gets a little narrower, but it's still paved and still a very good trail that most anyone that's used to hiking should be able to do this short 1 mile, very interesting hike. Our journey starts in a pine forest, a modern pine forest, where we see the ponderosa trees reaching to the sky.
Giant ponderosa pines here in this place, modern, that stretch to the sky. Shortly on the trail, we come to a volcanic flow here. There's even little pockets under it. Some of the little trees are already turning their autumn color in with some of the giant ponderosa. This one looks like it grew right in the lava beds, but had some problem growing. Even what looks to be an alpine fir growing here with the ponderosas. Modern tree that's had some problems growing. And I believe that's a fir.
I never thought to ask the little squirrel that's sitting in it if it's a fir, but that's very much home for him.
An emerging plant community. This entire area once looked very similar to the forest you see along the edges of the lava. Ponderosa and lodgepole pines, white fir, shrubs, and grasses all grew here before the lava flows incinerated them. Recently, geologically speaking, the most primitive types of plant life, mosses and lichens, reappeared. They started a chemical process which caused rock to break down and organic soil to form where native grasses, forbs, and future forests will grow. Soil formation took place over many centuries in this dry, harsh climate east of the Cascades. The established plants that emerged here have struggled to survive.
Here's a tree that has struggled to survive in the lava fields and failed at the attempt. And the grain goes round and round on it.
The same. Imagine standing here 7,000 years ago during an eruption. Intense heat radiated from the lava as it rumbled out of the ground, crackling and scorching trees in its path. Lava flows have different characteristics based on their chemical compositions. Pahoehoe and a'a are Hawaiian words that describe opposite ends of the spectrum of basaltic lava flows, like the one that surrounds you. The silica content of the lava affects its viscosity and fluidity. Lava that has a high silica content moves slowly. Lava with less silica flows rapidly. From here, find an example of each type of lava. Go to Big Obsidian Flow to see lava rock with the highest silica content. Of tree molds. A fiery flow enveloped the forest that once stood here. When molten lava surrounded the trees, steam from the burning wood cooled the lava around the trunks. Eventually, the charred wood rotted away, leaving tree molds, inaccurately but more eloquently referred to as lava casts. Roots of these vanished trees still exist beneath the lava flow. If the lava flow was rapid and the temperatures were high, would you expect lava casts to form? As you continue from the trail, find where 2 or more trees were growing together. Also find where trees were swept away by lava and then formed a log jam.
And here's another very interesting cast. Places where the lava flowed around a tree and made a cast of it. Another cast of a tree that the lava flowed out around. And yet another cast. And another very interesting cast. This must have been a great big tree that was cast here, set in stone. This must have been a huge double tree that was cast right here in this spot.
This one?
Yeah.
Look at there. It's a big one.
Must have been a fairly small tree cast here. And there's a pretty large one.
And this one's really deep into the ground.
Goes down into the ground just like a well.
Yes, this is what it's like, a well.
But a tree once stood there and was cast in lava. They're cast right here. And then just beyond it are more.
They're all along here. Here's another one.
There's a really nice one. And another one just beyond it.
Oh, this is a fairly good sized one. Maybe there were 2 of them here, the way it looks.
Oh yeah. This was a double tree cast here. 2 trees grew here at one time, and then the lava flowed around them and cooled and made a cast. The modern trees are just having an awful time trying to grow here. They're all distorted and out of shape. There's one
And
cast
then
there,
another one.
and another cast
And then here's another one. There's 3 of them all grouped together.
really close together. And that one you wouldn't want to fall in, that's for certain. It's really deep. Kind of an accurate cast
There's
of
one right here.
the tree.
And these are almost attached. These 2.
Goes way down, and there's a couple sticks laying in the bottom of it. Then another tree that was growing on a bit of an angle. The lava didn't care, it just flowed around whatever was here.
See?
And another tree cast right on the trail's edge. The lava formed a little differently around the trees because the trees were a little cooler.
Arrival of the twisted trees. Have you noticed that many of the trees along the trail are twisted? These plants have adapted to this harsh environment by finding small pockets of soil where their roots can take hold. The spiral pattern distributes water and nutrients to all sides of the tree. This survival tactic allows for growth to take place evenly around the crown of the tree. Twisted trees have found a way to survive.
Looks as though that tree didn't find its way to surviving. It's the one that's in the picture, but it never made it. The tree sure did twist. Wow, that's a beauty. Looks as if they built a little bridge across a little crack in the lava.
Some of these were in my grade school textbooks. I guess I didn't pay as much attention as I should have, but it always fascinated me.
Living among the lava. Various plant and animal species recapture their existence on the rugged and stark lava flows. Only the hardiest can thrive in this arid environment. Well-adapted flowing plants, including serviceberry, wild currant, rock pentstemon, and paintbrush, provide bursts of color across the flow in the summer. The ever-elusive pika makes its home beneath piles of lava rocks. You may hear the pika before you see him as he peeps in the early morning. This industrious relative of the rabbit collects grass, dries it in the sun, and stores it as a winter food source.
There are many of these tree casts along the trail's edge, and then this tree really did use that survival tactic of twisting so all parts of the tree got nourishment. The survival tactic just plain wasn't enough to the tree for the tree we just saw. It eventually succumbed to this harsh environment.
Families, the leaf on it looks like a goose's foot. The goose foot. Or the wild currants, when they're in season, they have a fruit on them which pioneers and Native Americans used to enjoy. And right next to it is another tree cast. This looks to be where two trees grew. And here's some dried up, way past prime currants still on the bush. The little critters that scamper around here surely harvested most of them. In the trail, this old tree fell over it, so they just cut a little pathway through it.
The currants are a member of the goosefoot family because their leaves resemble the foot of a duck or a goose.
You're in the Riff zone, a system of fissures or cracks known as the Northwest Riff Zone cuts across the northwest flank of Newberry Volcano. The fissures extend nearly 17 miles from East Lake in Newberry Caldera to Lava Butte and include the lava cast forest. These fissures are a zone of weakness along which magma reached the surface during a series of eruptions that form many cinder cones and lava flows. The elevation is 5,800 feet at this location. Looking straight ahead to the horizon behind the ridge of Newberry Caldera are East Lake and Paulina Lake. The surface of the lakes are at 6,300 feet. Therefore, you would be 500 feet underwater in this location.
The horizon is all covered with smoke, so we can't see the peaks that are hidden under the smoke. We have reached an area where there's some tree casts of downed trees. These were trees that were probably swept away by the tremendous force of the lava. And so they're like little caves. You could probably even crawl in one if you didn't mind sharing your space with a rattlesnake.
Going right in to the flow right here. What it is, it's the cast of a down tree where there's little holes broke in it. It made that little cave-like outfit, and it must have been a huge old tree. It comes clear along here. There's a little peak hole in it. And here's the end of it. And it's big enough you could crawl in. Then from the outside, here's the way it looks. This was a giant old tree that went down, and the lava flowed around it and made a cast of it that looks like a little cave. And here's some more casts where a tree has gone down and the lava's flowed around it and made a cast of it. And yet another one. This one you could crawl in it. On the edge of the flow is a totally giant ponderosa standing tall in the good soil outside the main flow. Trail is some sarvis berries and more of the currants.
Cascades Volcanic Arc. The high volcanic peaks of the Cascade Range mark the axis of the Cascades Volcanic Arc, which extends from Canada to Lassen Peak in Northern California. In Central Oregon, the arc is about 60 miles wide and includes the off-axis Newberry volcano. The volcanic arc is a result of subduction, which occurs when the Juan de Fuca plate plunges eastward under the North American plate. At great depth, the subducting slab creates heat and pressure. This releases water, which then helps to melt the overlying mantle, generating magma that rises through the crust.
We can't see the peaks today because there's a really bad forest fire over there and the air is full of smoke. Okay.
Wait. It is this word Kaipuka?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Kaipuka, an island of trees. From this rock rim, notice an isolated forested island within the lava. It is a kaipuka, which is a Hawaiian word meaning hole. The island contains much older cinder cones surrounded by the younger lava. The forest thrives on these upland islands because the soil contains more nutrients than the areas more recently overtaken by lava. The rocky perch on which you stand is also a remnant of an older lava flow.
Even the limbs on the tree down below us have twisted to get the nutrients to all parts of the limbs. Now it looks as if we're entering the forest again. Ponderosa normally grow straight and tall, but in these conditions they're very distorted and crooked. But here's, alongside that one is one that's growing straight and tall. That tree sure has some distorted limbs on it. And the top of it has died out already. From here the trail switches back and forth and goes down to the lower level of the flow. And another giant tree cast that has been laying down. Matter of fact, it looks like there's even one right under it.
This appears to be an area where several giant trees were swept away and made a log jam, and then the volcanic fluid poured over them and made a cast.
There's another giant cast here, not quite as big a tree, but it was laying down too. Maybe the volcano knocked it down, and then the lava flowed around them. I see several look like they're here. Then there's yet another cast with a very interesting texture on the back wall yet. It almost looked like it was trying to be obsidian. And then here's another cast with a very interesting texture on it. A little different type of lava. Looks like this tree didn't fall over, and the lava flowed around it and made a cast. Tree cast here. The lava would flow up against it, go up and stick to the tree, and then it would cool, and meanwhile the tree is burning rapidly. And another one right across from it. Yet another tree cast. Now our trail is going slightly upward, and we're getting out of the violent flows, and we'll be up to the parking lot before a terrible long time.
Lasting impacts on the landscape. Lava formations, like the ones observed along this trail, are one of a kind. Wind, water, and weather cause gradual changes to this landscape over long periods of time. Sometimes these forces, as well as the presence of humans, create more immediate or lasting impacts. Several tree molds here were once much taller than they are now. Environmental and human impacts have altered this remarkable landscape forever.
And there it is. We look up and find that we're back. And that was...
I find this to be a totally fascinating chapter in the history of our Earth. And if you do too, let me know in the comments.
I would definitely recommend this to anyone, and it's an easy paved trail all the way. The trail gets a little smaller at certain places, but it's a good trail.